Afternoon. Well, Toby, that second half display, 40 points, where does that rank in your time here?
Yeah, the best, for sure. I think there's been some significant results, but in 40 minutes worth of rugby, it's probably the most clinical we've been. And, you know, the boys need to take the credit for that, because we made a few tweaks at half-time from a tactical side of things. They actioned them and delivered on them, and it made a big difference.
And in a game of this magnitude, would you know about to be that clinical in that second half must be very pleasing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It was drummed into me in my first week here, you know, a season and a half ago, that this is the biggest game. The West Wales Derby is the biggest game, and if you remember back from that, we'd won 2 games prior to that, and they saw progress. If we can compete against the Scarlets and do well, then we've made progress. We see it a little bit different to that, but to get that result in the nature of it, as you say, is very rewarding, and the players and can take a lot of credit from that, a lot of confidence from that. But it's no surprise if you get good players on the pitch that you can perform more consistently. And I think for the last, not just this week, last week, even in parts of the game against the Stormers, we've seen probably a truer reflection of what the Ospreys are capable of. And getting those big players that we talk about back on the pitch makes a difference. It makes a difference in training, the competitiveness of it all, the ability to want to be out there and push the standards, and that's exciting for us going forward.
And 8 tries, 6 in the second half shows the attacking game that you've got there.
Yeah, exactly that, and have a multi-layer to it. So, we went well at set piece. You guys have watched enough of the Ospreys and my tenure know that you have to have good fundamentals of the game. You have to. We've improved defensively with Darren's inclusion. We've improved in relation from we've always had good set piece, scrum line out, etc. It's a tough league, and especially you play in winter months, you need those things. But ultimately now we're looking to try and improve the icing and the cherry on the top, because we want to be an attacking force that score tries. And
now the Heineken Champions Cup qualification and the Welsh Shield going down to the final 2 weeks, by the looks of it.
Yeah, and again, what's great, and I'm sure it's the same in for the Scarlets game. You want to be in this area. This area come the last 2 or 3 games where there's something tangible to touch and earn. So from that point of view, it's going to be very, very tough. We know that. Dragons is always a tough challenge. 3 Welsh derbies in successive weeks is a very tough thing to deal with from an emotional and physical point of view, because the price you have to pay to perform well and in our case win a couple. And it's the first time for a long time we've played games in successive weeks, so to go 3 weeks successive, they're all factors that have to be considered. But yeah, we've got some momentum. Winning is a habit, as everyone knows, and we need to work extremely hard against the Dragons to maintain that.
And George North comes on 10 points down and comes on for 42 minutes. Midas touch.
Yeah, he'll be driving the coach home as well. So, no, it's just great to see good players, irrespective of any team, players that have come through, long-term injuries and get themselves back performing well and playing consistently. Gareth Anscombe is a great example. I said, previously that he needed time to get into the cellar. We're starting to see a true reflection of him as a player. We can keep going. We'll talk about Tipperick when he comes back. We'll talk about Dan Lydia. We talk about Alan Wynne. We talk about those boys that have been absent for a year plus for us. Are big players, and you can't hide away from that. It provides opportunity for your other players to get valuable, miles on the clock. But ultimately, there's a reason that they've played, 150, first-class games, 200 first-time games, 150 internationals. They are what they are, and that's great when you're trying to grow a group of players into being something.
And sorry, final one for me. Derry Lake, 2 tries, doing the fundamentals well.
Yeah, there's a great example. Jack Morgan, Derry Lake are a gartom of new international players that you've seen flourish in the programme and what they're being exposed to. And yeah, they're extremely talented boys that will get better and better the more that miles they get on the clock, the experience to match the talent. So yeah, it's an exciting time for us, and we just need to keep pushing forward.
Was the plan always to put George on at 13? Or?
That'd be telling. Our hand was forced by us, really. So look, we played both ways. We've always, like as any team does, you plan for your contingencies, whether it's a tactical one or we knew that Mikey would drop, and obviously we had an additional one because, as you saw, we could have puts Steve at 10 and Chicken, you know, in at fullback. So look, you always, like any team, practice your what ifs. Our hand was forced, and we knew that actually the advantage of George being at 30 means he gets his hands on the ball a little bit more, and you know he's going to be a handful.
Is it actually quite nice that, well, not nice, but perhaps a good thing that it was a bit of a surprise that you went on in 39 minutes, so you didn't have to think about it for too long? You just
I think so. And we deliberated. I mean, as part of the starting and non-starting conversation. So, you know, he's been out for a long time, you know, and if it was my decision, obviously, and my decision was thought around what's best for George, what's best for the team, as they always are, and that factor came into it. If you know we're starting, you've got that big lead in time, you know how's it going to be? Sometimes you know it's better just to you're in, let's go. So I think the time, the nature of the person, the time he'd been out, and obviously we had momentum from last week, so all those things play a part. But the good thing for us, as you say, is we've got more competition in the back line, which is great.
Yeah, you touched on it then. They brought a lot of heat down Gareth's channel in defence.
Hmm.
You know, the variation in his game, probably one of the best performances I've seen from him in a while. What did you make of him?
Yeah, he challenged the line. You know, he made a couple of hard line breaks and bits and pieces, and kicked his goals. The fundamentals of the team. He'll get better. I've just spoken to him. I was just delighted for him. You know, getting back to having confidence in his body, which he has now, and it's no surprise. Like anything, any person does anything physical. If you've got confidence that you can do it physically, that's the basis of all performance. So I thought he was good. Yeah, amongst another, I thought Keelan Giles, for example, another guy who's been out for a very, very long time. I thought he was outstanding. He's been there or thereabouts, man of the match for me in the last 2 weeks. He has an influence on the defence, and we want those sort of players.
Yeah, I was going to bring up Keelan. Actually, he made 2 try-saving tackles in the first 10 minutes, I think, and he made another big hit as well in the second half. But then also he made 2 50-metre breaks as well.
Yeah, 2 50-metre breaks caused a decision for the defence to make, which resulted in the yellow card. And all of a sudden the pressure line goes the other way. So you want people that can influence the game, especially in your back line. You need people that can influence the game, and those two, George, Keelan, well, we talk about Gareth, Owen Watkins done it for Wales, done it for us. The more game changers you've got in your back line, the harder it is to defend.
Yeah, Owen Watkins is really developing his attacking game as well, isn't he? Because Wayne, I think he said in an interview recently, Wayne Pidvac told him that's what you need to do to get back in the team. But he's a real threat now as well, isn't he?
Yeah, and I think we see him as a 12, right? So I think that physicality suits him, and you need to put people around him to allow him to do that. But he's very got more confidence in what he's doing. He understands what he's doing, certainly from the Ospreys point of view, and he's taking defenders off his feet minimum. So I think that that bit looks like the Owen Watkins that I was led to believe was here when I got here, and tweaking his position, tweaking what we need from him, clarity for him, means he performs at that level.